The pectoral girdle. The pectoral girdle consists of two bones. We have, this is the clavicle, your collarbone, and this is your scapula, located right here. So, like that, okay? This is your pectoral girdle. What is the main function? Well, it attaches the upper limb to to your body. The other functions part of the lecture, we describe it right there. Important characteristics or features that I want you to keep in mind is one is that it's not a true girdle. Remember, it encloses the pectoral area, but not completely. This girdle is opened on the back. You can see here the clavicle, the scapula, and how the clavicle articulates medially with the sternum, laterally with the scapula, but the scapula posteriorly, they do not articulate each other. They're separate. They're free from the other scapula and free from the ribs. So that gives the pectoral girdle a wide range of mobility. Look, all of this that we can do, right? Uh, but we're sacrificing the stability, okay, of this joint in order for us to do all of this, okay? So it has poor stability, a lot of mobility. Let's start describing the first bone, and this is the clavicle. See, this is a superior view. This is an anterior view, okay? So it's better in a superior view because we can see the shape of the clavicle. See, there is like an S. Compare that to the rib. The rib is like a C. So don't get confused. Well, how come we're gonna get confused between a rib and a clavicle? Wait for it. What if I show you this rib, okay? Which is almost the same size as the clavicle, but this is one of the first ribs. But see, this one has a C shape and this one has an S shape. Two landmarks, only two things that we need to know about the clavicle and are the two ends. So I wish you can touch it. Touch it. See? It's flat. This end is flat. This flat end pointed laterally. Look at the other end. Look how it is bulky. Look at this one and look at this one. This is flat. This is bulky. The bulky one, the white one, points medially and the flat one points laterally. Then you have one convexity. It's convex, see? It's convex anteriorly in the medial side, and you can touch that here, how it's convex and then it gets concave, right? So this is the way you place your clavicle in the body, okay? The flat end is lateral. This is the acromial end, and the other end, the thick one, is the sternal end that articulates with the sternum. That's why it receives this name. So let's remember our sternum. Remember that it has the jugular notch and two clavicular notches at the level of the manubrium. So right there is where in the clavicular notch of the manubrium of the sternum is where the clavicle articulates. Remember, articulation and joints are synonyms, okay? It's where two or more bones join together. So right here, we have the articulation between the clavicle and the manubrium of the sternum. We're going to call this the sternoclavicular articulation. Now I want you to touch it. Well, before going there, let's describe the other end. And the other end is the acromial end that you can see in here, and it's called acromial because articulates with this part of the scapula that is called acromion. So it will go something like this. Okay, acromial end of the clavicle with acromial end of the scapula, and goes like something like that. I wish you can see. I know I cannot disappear my hands like that. Okay. Well, this is pointing like that. Okay. Looking in here, the I put here inside the square the sternoclavicular joint. Again, the joint where the whenever we're describing a joint, we're going to describe first the articular surfaces and the movements that are that we can perform at that joint. So which are the surfaces? Well, one is the clavicular notch of the manubrium of the sternum. You have to be that specific. And the other surface is the sternal end of the clavicle. So these two things, or these two structures, join together and form the sternoclavicular joint. Movements. Now, I want you to touch it. Touch it. See? In here is the jugular notch. This is the, in here you can feel the sternoclavicular notch. Now you're going to do elevation of the shoulder. It's like shrugging your shoulders. Can you feel it? Now depression. Feel it. Now protraction is when I move my shoulder anteriorly. And retraction, feel all the movements of these joints in with your fingers. And another one is flexion of the arm. See, that you can see the or feel the sternoclavicular joint moving. By the way, and I put it right here, I am trying, I'm like covering that, but this is the only attachment of the axial and the appendicular skeleton at the pectoral girdle. Remember, the scapulas are free, so this is the only link from of the pectoral girdle and appendicular skeleton to the axial skeleton. Okay, important. So in the next video, we are going to keep describing the pectoral girdle, the second bone, the scapula.